one-on-one fight because we took action and took out all their best stuff before they knew what was going on. Now it's just an overwhelming force. But the overwhelming force of the United States is going to show everybody else around the world, unless you hit us with a surprise attack and we don't like what you're doing, you could wake up tomorrow underneath a handful of nukes. Because at the end of the day, he gives you a choice. And if you don't agree, then at the stuff's gonna happen. She said, I wonder what's going on in the midst of the Iranian in America. Oh, in the minds of the Iranians in America. What's going on in the minds of the, if they're in America, they should be American. So if they are Iranian born and American bred, their thoughts should be, that is not my problem. Because I'm not over there. If they got family and friends over there, I hope they're safe. But I'm not going there. Because my plane might not make it. I might fly Spirit and it not get there. So, do I feel like those people should, feel bad or do something over here? No, I don't. He said, never say that. Remember Vietnam, bro. Do you understand that? And we're going to get into tonight's show in just a minute. Do you understand that the Second Amendment Constitution, where our anti-gun lobbyists that are so insecure about other people having guns, where you can have your right to not have yours, but don't stop me from having my right to have mine. You have to understand that our Second Amendment right to have firearms, we should have a handgun, we should have a shotgun, and we should have a long range rifle, preferably with a scope on it. We should all have gun training, and it should start at the age of at least 18. If we're not being trained by our parents, we should be able to acquire this training through our government at the age of 18. In Asia, in most countries in Asia, every American, every Asian citizen in Asia has to do a mandatory 2 years. They get gun training. They don't have guns in their country, so the only people who use the guns is the police and the military, but they get gun training. Mandatory 2-year service. So outside of exceptions, mandatory 2-year service. Now, in America, they're doing driver's ed. If we had firearm class in high school, where part of the curriculum of getting out of high school at 18 years old is knowing how to hold and use a firearm. I know some people are going to say, oh man, you'd have more school shootings. No, you would have more responsible people. And if everybody bought one after they learned how to use it and got comfortable with it, then you would have 385 million Americans with 3 firearms per person. If Vietnam happened in the United States, they're going to come with upward of 30, 50 people against 385 million? That's an onslaught. They're not going to make it to the quickie mark. But with more than half of the country not bearing firearms, 50 people can come out and take out a few 100,000 people until they run out of bullets. And then when the armed Americans show up, that's when you start having the first line of defense, because the armed Americans are going to show up before the police show up, and the police are going to show up before the military shows up. But Good Samaritan laws puts armed American citizens in the legal position to defend as second lines of defense with first responder police officers that are supposed to respond before the military. So truth be told, if we stop being silly about the Second Amendment and start bringing AR-15s to Chipotle, if Vietnam just so happened to touch down while I'm trying to get me a number 2 combo, then I can go outside and protect the country. That's what we're supposed to do. He said it could turn into a 100-year war like the War of the Roses. It ain't going to turn into a 100-year war. They ain't got that much territory. Like I said, it might last until June. He said, I'm not giving a nutcase lessons on shooting. What you talking about? You give nutcases driving classes. If I don't see why you can't give them shooting classes too. You try to devalue a good thing by not you personally, but a lot of people will try to devalue a good thing by trying to point out negative aspects of negative people. At the end of the day, the nutcases don't need to be taught by society, because the nutcases are going to steal a gun from their mom and them and go shoot folks regardless. The responsible people, though, that are going to be taught how to protect themselves from the nutcases, that should be a thing. Responsible people should be taught how to protect themselves from the nutcases. You know, whenever a good thing is mentioned, someone tries to point out the most negative aspect of it and say, well, what about this? What about that? What about that? What about the nutcase? Because even when there's no firearms in school, we used to have school shootings quite frequently. So I mean, if we had better training, proper education, gun safety rules, and then consequences for improper gun storage and improper gun usage, instead of restrictions on the accessibility of guns, the people who are going to obey the law are going to keep their guns safe so that they don't get the consequences of not keeping their guns safe. And if they know that they're going to be held responsible for the usage of the gun, even if they're not the one using the gun, they're not going to let that gun go nowhere. Just like if you're held responsible for your car when you hand the keys to your friend, you're not going to give your car to your friend if you think your friend going to do something wrong, because you don't want to be held responsible for what they're about to go do. If you give the keys to your friend and they go rob a bank, you're going to go to jail for helping them rob the bank. If you don't lock your guns up and your friend steals your guns and goes and robs the bank, you're going to go to jail for them using your guns. It, actions have consequences, plain and simple. He said it would be easier to remove the nutcases from the picture. How? How? 20 to 30% of the nutcases have a badge. So how are you going to remove the nutcases from the picture? Most of the people that are mentally unstable are the ones that join the police force anyway, because who signs up for a job where you know you could get killed every day of the week? The people who sign up for the military are nutcases. They don't join the military for the sake of peace. They join the military because they know they're going to get to kill people. The ones who passive aggressively join the military just to get the GI Bill are trying to do reserves. The ones that are signing up for frontline touring across the world combat, they're signing up to kill people. So there is no, how are you going to get rid of the nutcases? The nutcases is what keeps this country safe. The nutcases are the ones that's willing to look them in the eye and pull the trigger and not blink. And that's what you need on the battlefield. FX Trader said the media never talks about armed citizens preventing much crime. That's because that's not important. That's because that's not important. There was a story about a shootout between a police and a criminal, and a civilian came in and protected the cops and provided cover fire. That person had showed a concealed carry badge, which almost could have got that person arrested, but the police officer seen him as a friendly, and they were providing cover fire. It happened one time, but the fact is that as long as the police don't have a complaint, you can do that. But very few times do citizens get involved, because if a citizen helps a police officer, the police officer can then turn around and arrest a citizen. And if the citizen helps another citizen, the citizen that got helped can then sue the one that helped. So now it's like, shit, I don't want to get involved in nothing, because I could go to jail or I could get arrested because I tried to provide you with assistance. So fuck you, suffer. If I need help, I'm not calling for help. If I need help, I'm going to resolve the situation first. Then I'm going to call the police. But if I need help, and actually, I might not even call the police. I might need help. I might resolve the situation and then resolve the situation in the backyard somewhere. But if I need help and somebody else calls the police, I should have enough video footage to show that I made the right choice when I did what I had to do. That way, I'm not going to jail for it. She said, can the government issue out gas cards to us to alleviate the high cost of gas? They're not going to give us a gas card, Nicole. What they would probably do is release a stimulus check if there is a financial strain. They would release a stimulus check. You're not going to see a lot of financial relief from the government right now, because it's a capitalist country right now. The Democrats are not in control. If the Democrats were in control, you would be getting a bunch of relief. You don't get relief from the Republicans. So if you need some money, you're going to have to make extra money somewhere in order for you to get coverage. The government is working for the rich. They're not working for the poor. Donald Trump is stimulating the economy from the ground up by helping the lower class get more financial stability so that they can spend more money in the right places so that the upper class can make more money. If the poor people don't make enough money, the poor people don't spend money. If the poor people don't spend money, the rich people don't make money. So he's not it's a secondary passive aggressive way to put more money into the pockets of the rich. A billionaire cannot become a multi-billionaire if nobody's willing to spend money. But a billionaire doesn't spend his money. That's why he's a billionaire. So in order to keep money flowing, you have to stimulate the economy with the wasteful poor people, the bottom 50% of America, that's going to spend their money so that the top 50%, the top 10% can pocket all of that money. Steven said, if you have a friend who robs a bank, you need to make better life choices way before asking a key over it. Well, I use that as an example. You're right, Michael, but I use it as an example for the pure observation that if our government were stricter on the consequences of secondary fallout, then less people would be irresponsible. If you got kids in the house and you teach your children gun safety, you teach them not to touch the gun unless it's an emergency, not to pull the trigger unless they have no other choice. Don't point the gun at each other. Don't point the guns at friendlies. Your kids should not be running around the house, cowboys and Indians, pew, 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 with toy guns that look real. And then when they see mommy and daddy's gun, they're grabbing a gun like, oh, wow, and pointing at somebody and bang. And then it actually goes off. They should teach the children gun safety. If you teach the children proper gun safety, then the kids don't knock each other off accidentally. Then on top of that, teaching the kids anger management, to deal with bullies, whether it's their siblings or somebody in the school. Now your kids aren't taking your guns out of the house and trying to regulate like Columbine too. But a parent that doesn't have their gun properly stored, and a kid goes and grabs their assault rifle, decides to go to a political campaign and take shots at the president, the parents should have went to jail. A kid goes and grabs builds grenades in the basement and puts together assault rifles and goes to their middle school in the middle of the day and starts taking out the middle school, the parents should have gone to jail for that. Even though the kids didn't survive, the parents should have gone to jail for that. Because the question is always going to be, where was the mama? Because 82% of children are raised by a single woman. If the parents are not paying attention to the kids and the parents got firearms in the house, the parents are responsible for what happened with the kids. Plain and simple. So I use that excuse to show the dynamic that if accountability was spread further than restriction, then I can guarantee you more people would be responsible. Because ain't nobody grabbing my gun off the table and knocking nobody off by accident. Because I'm so old that I don't know that afros are coming back. They already here. It's called a ration card. Yeah, but I don't see them issuing that out anytime soon. I saw a video that shows a situation when a legal gun owner is stopped and admits to the cops that he has a gun and he gets locked up. Yes, you can go to jail for driving while black with a firearm. Yes, you can have a firearm improperly secured, because if it's not in the holster and it is not in the glove box and it is not in the trunk, if it's just sliding back and forward on the floor, it is improperly stored, and you can go to jail for that too. If it's in the back seat, if it's under something, if it's not secured where hitting the speed bump, it could be discharged. Improper storage of the firearm while transporting it could cause you to go to jail, even though you legally own it. So I don't know the dynamics of that story, but I do know that if the person that had it didn't have it correctly, they can go to jail and have legal possession rights, but illegal storage rights. He said, you'll get gas on even days if your license ends on even and odds. Okay. BB gun wars. Yeah, the BB gun wars. But BB gun wars, we should be doing target practice. We shouldn't be using BB gun wars to shoot at each other. right? But when we had BB guns, and our parents used to tell us, don't shoot at each other with it. Even though we used to shoot at each other with it, we used to say don't shoot at each other with it. By the time we finished using BB guns, when real guns got into our hands, we knew what we was doing. But I personally believe, uh, I believe that yeah, if we were teaching our kids at 7, if we are avid gun owners and we teach our kids 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 gun safety, they might be scared of the loud bang at 6 or 7 years old and they burst into tears when they hear the gun go off. That's fine. But by the time they're 10, 11 years old, they're used to how that gun sounds. They go to the range with mom and dad every weekend. They're learning how to do this stuff. And then by the time they become 17, 18 years old, they're not afraid of guns. They know how to use them. They can buy their own gun. You should be able to take them out to get their first car at 16 and get their first pistol at 18 and get their first rifle at 21. You should be able to make sure that they're prepared, because when you start talking about, when we're looking at, that's not today's topic, but when we start talking about war across nations and what happens when they make that war come over here, if we're not ready, because we got a large quantity of troops in Iran right now. If we're not ready and response to that comes to America, if our best efforts are in Iran, who's defending us? Everybody else. So y'all need to get y'all shit together. Go to the range and figure this shit out. Airsoft guns were a big part of my childhood. Me too. Airsoft guns, CO2 cartridges. We didn't reload by changing the mag out. We reloaded by changing out the CO2 cartridge. We the first time we experienced the buck back and the smoke coming out, we used to have the BB guns with the CO2 cartridge in it. And you could really teach your kids the same way. You could start with the little Nerf guns when they're 3, 4, 5 years old. Teaching them responsible gun safety with the Nerf guns, work your way up to the airsoft guns, work your way up to the CO2 guns where they can feel that butt back, they can hear the discharge, see the smoke coming up, work them up by the time they're 8, 9, 10 years old, work them up to a real gun, taking them to the range, showing them how daddy does it, and then work their way up to doing it themselves. You can do it. There are plenty of gun owners that have children that are 8, 9, and 10 years old, not old enough to be in school, but old enough to have their own gun in the house. Because as long as they're with their parents, it's responsible gun ownership. I mean, it is what it is. Is it why is that the cops, instead of protecting and serving, just want to arrest people for nothing? Because they ain't got nothing else to do? Truth? I had this conversation on social media before. Our discussion was about window tint and rolling down windows, and a police officer jumped into the comment section. And what happened was, we were in a discussion that was about police officers demanding that you roll your window down at a traffic stop, all the way down, not just like roll it down where I can talk to you, all the way down. And you are not required by law to roll your window down. You are required to have the ability to be heard by the officer, to be able to receive communication from the officer, and be able to pass documents back and forth through the window or through the door, or ironically, it could go through the sunroof. So if you've got a small car, the officer's taller than the car, and they're standing at your car, they want you to crack your window, your sunroof's open, you can have a conversation with the window rolled up legally and pass documents through the roof. They don't want to accept the documents, but it's like, bro, if I'm passing it through the roof, you can get the documents. I can hear your voice. You can hear my voice. We're having a conversation. You're refusing to accept the documents. I'm not required to roll the window down. Now, police officers are going to say, if you don't roll the window down, they can force you out of the car. Because they're saying that rolling down the window is a lawful order. It is not. The window, if my window is broke, it does not roll down. Then we got two choices. You're going to talk to me through this glass, or I'm going to get out the car. And an officer would first pull you out of the car instead of just performing the routine traffic stop, issuing whatever citations are necessary, and let you go on about your day. If they're going to give you a warning, give you a warning, because they want to force you to roll your window down. And if they don't force you to do something, they have an ego trip, and then they start overly exercising unfathomable laws, trying to write every ticket under the sun that they can think of so that you can be in traffic court trying to prove that you didn't do what they're wrongfully accusing you of, which is a power trip. And through that conversation, I explained, um, you don't have to roll down your windows. You have to have your window open enough for you to receive documents from the officer. You don't have to roll down all your windows. You don't have to roll it down all the way. If you roll it down 25%, enough for them to send the clipboard through the thing, you sign it, send it back. That's it. That's the most space that needs to be done. They want it all the way down so that they can unlock your door whenever they feel like it, trespass on your vehicle, unlawful search and seizure. That's why they want you to pull it down. So that if they feel like snatch you out of the car, they can take you by surprise and snatch you out of the car. That's why they want the windows down. But that's not lawful orders. That is not legal process. So if you open the window enough for them to hear you and you can hear them and they can send stuff through the window, you can send stuff through the window, you don't got to roll it down no further than that. And if you've got a sunroof and you can pass it through the sunroof and communicate with them through the sunroof, even if you're in an SUV and you're standing up in the SUV talking to them through the roof of the car, handing them the document, you don't got to roll down the window. So at the end of the day, when an officer jumped into the comment section, oh yeah, well, what about the tent, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, bro, there's people with fully transparent cars, you can see straight through the glass. It's still not a requirement. It's not a lawful order. And then he's like, well, if you were doing that to me, I would snatch you out of the car, arrest you, detain you, and then give you every ticket I could think of. And I said, see, and this is exactly my point. It's a power struggle where the officer is using unnecessary behavior to manipulate the law, to force somebody to submit. It is not about enforcing the law. It is not about taking action on the situation. It is simply about trying to dominate the other person in a conversation because you have a badge. And I said in that conversation, those police officers should be fired off of their jobs. Any police officer that believes that they can't do their job without dominating the other person psychological and emotional state, that police officer should be fired. Because if you pull me over because my tail light was out, give me a ticket and send me on my way. If you pulled me over because my registration was expired, give me a ticket, send me on my way. If you pulled me over because you thought my window tint was too dark, give me a ticket, send me on my way. If you pulled me over for an arrestable offense, arrest me for that offense. But if you were going to give me a citation when you walked up to the car, give me that citation and send me on my way. Don't try to escalate the situation to a level where you're going to force me to go to jail because I didn't roll down my window. That is an abuse of power. Don't try to take me to jail because I didn't hand you my documents. I put it up against a glass where you can see it. Where if you can read it through the glass, then you can see me through the glass, which means that I don't need to roll it down any further. Again, abuse of power if you're going to try to arrest me because you can't hold my ID in your hand. That's an abuse of power. Because they got a pen and a clipboard. They can write everything down and then go to their car and run the information. I can read the information off the card for you, show you the card is here, and read all the information off the card for you. You can write it down and go to your car and run the information. But the abuse of power, that is something that has to be dealt with. Solution, if you're not going to fire them, put them on the front lines in Iran. They won't come back. Then the problem will be solved. He said, arresting you creates money for the system, and it usually affects the poor. Yes, that is true. Every time you go to jail, you're going to get a public defender paid by tax dollars. You're going to sit in jail at $40 to $50 a day for 3 days, which is $150 per head that comes out of tax dollars. Then you're going to be in a legal case that's like $385 or more per hearing. That's coming out of tax dollars. And if the judge charges you for anything, that's going to come out of your pocket if it doesn't come out of tax dollars. And all of this, plus the salary for the bailiff, the salary for the security out front, the salary for the rest of the court staff, the salary for the judge, and the salary for the other attorneys in the room, all of that's coming out of tax dollars because this one police officer had an abuse of power at a traffic stop where technically they could have issued you a citation that you paid by phone and didn't even have to show up to court. It's crazy. He said they're gonna bust that window in, that legal or not. True. But you gotta understand there are some situations. This is one of the reasons why I told y'all the Cybertruck had value. And then after the Cybertruck, the other cars like the Lexus, the Mercedes, the other cars that came out with the bodyproof kit. When you have bullet resistant vehicles, you have impact resistant vehicles. If it can resist a 9mm or 22 caliber firearm or 45 caliber firearm, it can resist a billy club or a flashlight, which means that if they're trying to break your glass, you can document this, and then you can call the news and you can call the police. And I know some people are like, oh yeah, calling the police, that's making a bad situation worse, that's throwing gas on a grease fire. But if you call dispatch 1112, put you straight through the dispatch. 911 ironically puts you on hold these days. 1112 is like a universal thing. Dispatch audio recording, and you are reporting a officer threatening your safety, threatening your life, and you can hear the noise in the background. You're screaming, you're asking for help, you need a supervisor, you're giving the current location to the best of your ability. If the officer makes their way into the vehicle and shots are fired, self-defense. Self-defense. Because they're going to have to show on a body cam that officer had a reason to break through a bulletproof car. But if it's his word against yours, you're going to jail. Believe it or not. But George Zimmerman is proof that even if you're about to do something stupid, if the 911 audio call shows that from the perspective of the person on the phone, there was reason to believe that they were not safe, and that their fear of their safety caused them to react, and that reaction led to the loss of life. Unless somebody can prove that that behavior was unnecessary, self-defense. We do have laws, they contradict one another, because while doing something to a police officer could lead you to a capital offense and you could be facing a death penalty, there are laws that indicate you have the ability to defend yourself from a police officer when they are not following or attempting to enforce laws. If they're just using an abuse of power and they're just trying to attack you and cause harm to you for no reason, there's no probable cause for them to be here. They weren't trying to arrest you for an official reason. They were just trying to basically kidnap you and assert their authority over you. In those situations, you have the ability to defend yourself. But when you defend yourself, you risk going to jail. And if you get out of jail, that's what you would be fighting. Versus if you allowed them to violate your rights and allowed them to take you to jail, then you would be having a massive lawsuit where they would be defending how much money they're going to pay you. So you have to choose. Do I let them violate my rights and attempt to roll the dice on a lot of money, or do I stand up for my rights and then try to defend myself in court? Now, when it comes down to them trying to shoot up the vehicle, I would prefer to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. So as long as they don't pull out their firearms and start taking shots at the car, we can work this out. But once they start trying to take shots at a vehicle, that's a wrap right there. I will be defending my life to the best of my life. I'll do this until I run out of gas. I'm telling you. Gas and ammo. I'm telling you. Is that under this administration, I don't think self-defense would work even if that is the real case. No, there are police officers going to jail every month right now under the current administration. Over the last 2 years, more police officers have been convicted for unlawful behavior. The ICE agents that killed them 2 people are under investigation right now, and odds are that the ones that took the shots are going to probably get convicted of that under the current administration. The current administration is not trying to stop lawful self-defense. The current administration is going to stop the unruly behavior of civilians that don't want to comply and cooperate with law enforcement. And they get mixed up and intertwined into the two. The thing about it is that if you're cooperating reasonably, the officer should not escalate. And that's why they have body cameras. But if the officers are escalating, they know that it's their word against yours. But you have to maintain composure, not cursing them out, not threatening their safety. Oh yeah, I'll fuck you up. You can't do that. Oh yeah, well, if you come in this car, I'm gonna. You can't do that. If that, then I will. That's a threat. You can't do that. You have to continue to tell them, hey, de-escalate. I'm cooperating. You need to see my information. I showed it to you. You want to roll down my window? My window's broken. I can talk to you through my sunroof. That's it. Your window doesn't have to be broken. This window hasn't worked in so many years. I don't know if it works, and I'm not going to try because if it goes down, it might not go back up. That's it. That's it. That's it. That window doesn't work. But the window that's cracked, that window works. That window, the back window, that window works. I'll talk to you through the back window. You can hand me the information from the back glass. I'm not undoing my driver's side door. I'll talk to you through the sunroof. I'll stand up in the car and talk to you through the sunroof, but I'm not rolling down that driver's side window. It's just not going down, you know. And they just have to figure out what they want to do about that. You want to step out of the car? Yeah, I'll step out of the car. But the car has a defect. I'm not gonna argue with you about that because if that window doesn't go back up, if it goes down and doesn't go back up, you're gonna have to fix my car. He says, could you hand them a walkie-talkie and close the window of your bulletproof vehicle right away? No. If they can't hear you through the vehicle, that would be obstructing their ability to do their jobs. They have to be able to hear you and you have to be able to hear them. So, I mean, if you're in one of those bulletproof vehicles and you have one of those walkie-talkies with a loudspeaker under outside of the car, like the Resvani tank, where you can respond to their discussions through the glass, I mean, that works to a magnitude. But when they decide to start handing you information, at that moment, you're still going to have to open the vehicle to a magnitude where they can hand you documents. So you can't keep the window completely closed 100% of the time. You have to open the window enough to receive the documents from them, you know. But they have to be able to hear you. You have to be able to hear them. If you can hear them and they can hear you, you don't got to do nothing else because the lack of ability to reach out and touch you has nothing to do with their ability to articulate what they need to give to you. She said, where do you get an LLC? Well, you got to set one up. You start off by one of the first things, deciding what you want to call your LLC, because you're going to have to name your LLC when you apply for your tax identification number, your EIN, with the IRS. You pay a small fee these days. It used to be free, but you pay a small free fee to get your EIN number, and it's going to be attached to a specific name. You're going to have to identify a specific um, field in which your business is in. So you're not just like anything. You're going to specifically select a specific field which has specific tax codes, which has certain types of tax deductions in addition to the standard level of tax deductions. And then after you've identified all of that, you've got your EIN. After you get your EIN, then you can contact your local city hall or whatever, and you can register your business with the EIN with your local city and state. And then a couple days or a week after that, then you can start applying for business bank accounts. They're going to see your business properly registered in that city and state, and then you can get you some business bank accounts, and then you can start depositing money into that business bank account, and then you can start making charges using the business bank account. If you've got a good credit score, you can use that EIN and start applying yourself as a personal grantor to establish business credit, and then you can use the business credit cards, and you can get like net 10, net 20, net 30 commercial accounts with vendors where you buy stuff that from those vendors, they will send it to you, and then they'll bill you later. You pay the invoice, and then you establish yourself a, uh, credit, a business credit that's going to be established on Dun and Bradstreet, which will allow you to use that to borrow money for the business and get credit cards and stuff to that effect. So I actually think that I'm going to be putting a list of stuff for how to set up an LLC into the membership as well, because I know it's been a while since I talked about it. If you record the interaction with cops, can they stop you? No, they can't stop you from recording the incident. It's your First Amendment right to record. But you got to understand that if you're recording, you got to behave, because they can use that as evidence against you the same way you can use that as evidence against them. So if you was acting a fool with them, then yeah, they can use that. They can subpoena your cell phone. uh that's going to be their issue. That's going to be the other issue, is that when your cell phone is evidence in a case, they can subpoena your cell phone, and then you don't have a cell phone, which is why I tell people, get a body camera or get a third device that is doing the recording so that your primary cell phone is not being used, specifically because you can use your cell phone to make calls while you're recording. And if they subpoena your cell phone as evidence, that or subpoena that recording device as evidence, that they've you've got a copy of the evidence, they've got a copy of the evidence, but you still have your cell phone at the same time. So that's going to be another thing. You want to make sure that you can still make calls, because once you end up in a legal issue, you've got to be able to provide them the evidence and still keep your phone at the same time. That's going to be the concern. Um, so yeah, I was supposed to tell y'all at the beginning of the show that we're here 7 nights a week. She said very informative night. Yeah, yeah. Uh, almost every night I want to say is an informative nights, but some nights are funner for you guys, to give you guys detailed information that you guys weren't expecting to have. Because I cover this, that, and everything in between, because I give you guys information that helps you with the stuff that negatively impacts your ability to make sound decisions, and those lack of sound decisions cost you money. One of the things, like right now, most people have a rear view mirror that's a standard rear view mirror. You should invest in a 360-degree camera that has one front view and two adjustable side views, that also has internal cab audio recording, and then have a fourth one on your license plate, so it shows the behavior of the vehicle behind your car, anybody that walks up on either side, anybody in front of the car, and your ability to communicate inside of your car. That type of video file, especially if you have like a 500 or a 1 terabyte SD card, you can record. If you have an interaction while you're in your car, you can record what you're saying and what they're saying. And if you can hear them on the recording, you can hear them in the car, and they're responding to you. You have video footage that they could hear you in the car, which means y'all were having a conversation, which means that the requirement to roll those windows down wasn't necessary, because y'all were talking through the glass. And that's going to benefit you as well. So having a 360-degree camera setup with in-cabin audio recording benefits your case when you end up car crashes or any type of unethical situation that happens near a vehicle. So you should have video cameras on your porch, not just your doorbell, but standard, something pointing towards your house with at least video footage, and then something close to the door that does audio recording, so that the conversations that happen at your house has information to prove that the conversation y'all was having got reckless. That's important too, because a lot of people run and go get their cell phone and use that as evidence. But I mean, it's safer for you to have a standard recording device that records sound and video while you're holding your firearm with the threat that is trying to force their way into your house without a warrant. Your hands need to be free. Your hands shouldn't be on a cell phone. Your hands should be free, so that you can protect yourself and protect your curtilage, and defend your homestead, castle doctrine, from any threat, foreign or domestic, government or non-government threat that unlawfully invades your property. So you should have firearms, and you should have cameras all over the place. But then because you have all this surveillance, you got all this evidence that can work against you. So you want to make sure that you behave while you're on camera. So when they come up and they start acting ass, I mean, it's like, I'm gonna talk to you respectfully, but yeah, you got to understand that this isn't gonna work for me. And do your best, do the best that you can to cooperate, but you're only cooperating to a minimum degree. A minimum degree. So you got to do your research on the laws, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do, what you can say, what you cannot say. But one of the things you're going to find out is when you go check out the laws, case law in most states, they can't make they can't make you roll your window down 75%. They can't make you open the windows in your house. They can't make you open up a door in your house. They can't make you come outside and talk to them. There's choices that you voluntarily make because you don't know your rights. And when you make those choices, now you're vulnerable to them putting their hands on you. Once they put their hands on you, that's it. You either gonna fight, or you're gonna let them take you. He said, please throw a link to one in membership. Yeah. You want me to throw a link to? I'll get the link for the EIN, put that into the membership, and then I will piece together that stuff for the how to build an LLC. It's the same thing between an LLC and a C corporation, pretty much the same thing, but the difference is that you have to declare it with the IRS that it is a C corporation or an LLC. But if you establish it as an LLC and then you decide to incorporate it as a C corporation, you can just change the IRS identification down the line and change it to a corporation. Likewise, you have a partnership versus a sole proprietorship. I would recommend that you do it as a partnership or better, so that it has different legal requirements than it does for a sole proprietor. But getting you an LLC and then moving that into another dynamic, because having the ability to sell the shares to the trust, where the trust owns the business, and then somebody else is running the business on your behalf. Once you get the business off the ground, now you've got the trustee operating the business for you, and you're getting paid as a beneficiary of the trust. All of this stuff starts playing into one another. So it's always good to prepare for the future. So I would set up something close to a partnership. Um, but a partnership requires you to have other people, so you can't like create fake names and make it a partnership. If you've got one or two, three people you want to do business with, like you and your dad, Steven, y'all can go into business together. If Nicole's got a boyfriend or a son or somebody like that, a sister that y'all want to go into business together, y'all set up some kind of partnership, and that gives you guys a little bit more benefits than what you would get from a sole proprietorship. And then you can always switch that from um, where it is to a C corporation, or you can just go straight for C corporation, because C corporations get up to 10% for nonprofit donations as tax deductions, which you don't get from an LLC. But it really depends. So I'm gonna be putting that information either because I know I'm available on Saturday, so by Saturday I should be putting a lot more stuff up. By Saturday I should be putting a lot more stuff up. So I was supposed to be telling y'all about all the stuff that we got going on for the week, but since we're like an hour and some change to the show, I'm just gonna skip that. There's no point to do opening announcements an hour into the show. But today we were supposed to be talking about your ability to level up. I know that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday we talk about business and politics. Thursday, Friday, Saturday we talk about personal development. Today's Thursday. Personal development is what we're supposed to be talking about. So we were supposed to be talking about leveling up your life, and we're quite a ways away, and we haven't even got started. So if you've ever felt stuck, like you're trapped in a loop, you want to make a big change in your life, but you feel too overwhelmed to even start it. I know a lot of people feel this way. You see other people progressing, you see them leveling up, and that you have that same potential, but the gap between where you are and where you want to be at is just feeling a lot larger of a gap than you're capable of handling. It's this quiet frustration that feels like you're being a background character in your own story. And I got to tell you guys that real lasting change is not going to come from that massive painful overhaul. And I talked a little bit about this before a few weeks ago. So what if the secrets isn't about finding superhuman willpower, blowing up your entire life? Instead, finding that it is funny how a small, boring, unsexy habits are often the ones that make the biggest impact. So the truth is going to be transformation that's going to come from small, intentional upgrades that you can make starting today. So I'm going to be giving you guys a complete guide and a clear blueprint. I'm going to put this blueprint into the membership as well. So I'm going to be releasing a lot more stuff coming soon of simple changes that you can stack onto your existing routines to level up your life right now. Now, remember, one of the first things you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start taking away bullshit out of your life and then freeing up space so that you can start adding good things to your life, because you don't want to just add bullshit on top of bullshit, because that's going to leave you with a lot more bullshit, right? So we're going to be reframing this entire process. We're going to stop seeing the personal growth as a chore and start seeing it for what it is, which is an advantage. This isn't about trying harder. It's going to be about playing smarter. So we're going to apply the mechanics of video games to real life, turning you into the hero of your own story, because you don't need to be a perfect person to start. You just need to start, and the game is going to begin right now. The central idea we're going to explore is a philosophy that has completely changed how people approach personal development. So it's going to be this system that reframes your life as a role-playing game or RPG where you are the main character. The book, Level Up Your Life by Stephen Cam, combines the classic hero's journey story with the psychological uh, aspects of gamification to make growth feel exciting instead of exhausting. And it all comes down to one powerful truth. And y'all know you don't need superhuman willpower or a complete life demolition to change. So, what you need are going to be some better systems, systems that make your progress visible for yourself, because you got to see the improvements in order for you to keep doing it. It's going to make your failures feel temporary, because we're not always going to succeed in life. We're not always going to get what we want, but we do have to try. And making the whole process of growth genuinely fun so that you stay in it, because exercise is hard, boring, and exhausting. And not a lot of people do it often enough because we're exhausted. We can find 5 hours a night to watch movies on TV, but we can't find 2 hours a day to do exercise. It's just the laziness in us after a long day of psychological burnout. The physical burnout doesn't cause us to be as lazy as the mental burnout. We really have to, we force ourselves to turn our brains off to alleviate stress by watching movies and playing video games to distract ourselves from the things that we can't control. It is what it is. And so many of us fall into the trap of waiting for motivation to strike, where it's not always going to be like this. It's going to get better eventually without ever putting any effort into seeing change. We tell ourselves, I'll start when it feels like it's going to get better. I'm going to do it tomorrow instead of today. I only got 6 hours left in this afternoon. I'm just going to hang out and rest, and then I'll try to apply myself tomorrow. But you're going to find yourself always doing that. Motivation is a fickle friend, it comes and goes without warning. This system isn't about relying on that feeling. It is about using moments when your motivation is high to build a structure that carries you through when your motivation inevitably dips. It's about building a game that you can't help but play, even on the hard days. So we're going to stop trying to force change and instead design a life where change becomes the natural, rewarding result of your daily actions. So forget the boring to-do list and the vague goals. It's going to be time to create our own epic quest. To play this game, you need to understand its core mechanics. Just like great RPGs, the game of life has a structure. Once you see it, you can use it to your advantage. And this framework runs on three connected mechanics: questing, grinding, and boss battles. We're going to get into that in just a second. He said, what about all the extra time afterward? Most people use that time to quote unquote rest. They waste all that time sleeping, hanging out, watching movies, playing video games. They don't apply themselves to extra stuff. A lot of people believe that the mental stress from the time they woke up to the time they got off from work was enough for today, and they're going to relax for the rest of the afternoon and not apply themselves to anything else, which leaves them in a position where they don't accomplish anything because they work 5 or 6 days a week. Then they only have the one half a day off that they're awake, and they don't want to do anything because they want that personal vacation to recover for the upcoming week, and that 1 or 2 days off that they have is not enough to accomplish anything, and they find themselves in a rut where they never prioritize time to get anything else done. That's what about all that extra time after work, because even if you work night shift, you get off in the morning, you go to sleep, you wake up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you got 5 or 6 hours before you have to go to work. You have 1 hour to get stuff done. But when you wake up, you're going to drag around the house, grab you something to eat, slouch in the couch, watch you a movie, then be like, man, I got to get ready for work. Then you get dressed, then you go to work. You haven't done anything yet. But that time, either before work or that time after work, you could have applied yourself to something. We just don't. Because at that time after work leaves time for the gym, class, study, and side work. That's true. That's what we're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to have a side gig to bring in extra money. You're supposed to be able to get you some exercise. You're supposed to be able to learn something new. You're supposed to be able to accomplish other goals outside of going to work and still have free time. Oh yeah, that's exactly what that's going to be. That is personal failures, self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, first up is going to be questing, which is our new way of setting goals. You want to think about goals that you've set in the past. They were probably on a to-do list, right? Lose weight, read more, save money. These aren't quests, they are chores. They are vague, uninspiring, and have no sense of adventure. A quest is different. A quest has a story, a challenge, and a clear reward. So instead of the boring to-do list, you're going to design an epic quest list with specific challenge missions that actually moves the plot of your life forward. So, how's that going to work? You assign experience points, XP, to each quest based on how important it is to you. Finishing a 5K run might be a 100 XP quest. Finally launching that website that you've been dreaming about, that could be a 1000 XP quest. This isn't just making a list, it's creating a real scoring system for your own life. Completing a quest and earning that XP gives you a little dopamine hit that our brain craves, and the very thing that makes video games so addictive. The key is to make your quest bold but super specific. It's not learn to play the piano, it's learn to play a full version of Piano Man in a bar and get the whole crowd to sing along with you, right? Notice how when we're playing video games, we have mission 1, click this button. Mission 2, click that button. Mission 3, click that button. Mission 4, click this button. Mission 5, go from start to the merchant shop. Go from merchant shop to vehicle. Go from vehicle to primary quest. Complete primary quest. Then see how there's all these baby steps all the way up to the main mission. Then after the main mission, then you have all of these side quests. Yeah, Zelda, GTA 6, GTA 5, GTA 4. Yeah, online mass multiplayer role playing games. They have like time based role playing games where they literally set a requirement where it's like, do this, do this, do this. The first 15 levels is moment by moment accomplishments, mini quests that gives you a lot of points and a lot of resources to allow you to stay in the game long enough for you to get hooked on it. Then they put you in the long, drawn out quest. Now that you're psychologically and emotionally addicted to the game, you've been doing this for 2 months now. Now the quests start taking longer. Now the quests start taking money. Now the quests start taking a team effort to beat that quest. But the first 3 weeks, it's a bunch of small quests that's every day that you spend 4 or 5 hours just doing a bunch of little things, and you find yourself on this game forever. If you apply this to your life, it's going to be the same result. If you see the difference in this, one is a task, the other is a story that you'll tell the rest of your life. The second uh, mechanic of this is going to be grinding, and we all grind on video games. This is going to be how we reframe daily habits. In a video game, grinding is just repeating actions to gain experience points to level up. You know how when you're on a game, even on Zelda, when you have to achieve a certain level, but it requires you to defeat a certain quantity of monsters, you might need a certain number of coins, and you have to defeat a certain quantity of monsters in order to get those coins. You might want to try to buy a certain item, but you have to uh, uh, rob a few dozen people on GTA. You might have to, like, for example, to get your driver's license on GTA San Andreas, you have to drive the vehicle for a certain number of miles, which is a certain number of hours. Then you have to go to Los Santos, and then you got to take the driving test. Um, Grinding is those repetitive motions. So it can be repetitive, but it is going to be how you get stronger in life. Our daily habits, the workout, the meditation, the healthy meals, that's going to be our grind. The problem is we see them as chores to be checked off. That mindset is draining. yes, sir. I'm always here to provide a friend zone. Special shout out, friend zone millionaire. I, I do nothing but teach y'all. This is what I do from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed. I'm always trying to find another way. This is this is this is what I do. And then on top of that, in addition to finding another way, I actually learn these things and then I apply it in my own life. So I don't just recommend this to y'all. I actually do this stuff too, because it actually helps with your ability to accomplish things. I have found that I'm able to take more free time out of life and get more important stuff done. I'm able to look back at days that I've had full days off, and I've been able to look forward to days where I'm going to have so much stuff done. Where out of a month, instead of me grinding 30 days out of that month, I got 30 things done and still had 10 days off out the month. You know what I mean? I'm not doing 18 hours a day, 7 days a week anymore. You know, I'm finding ways to make free time. Now I just have to find the motivation to socialize with other people because fuck people right now. I'm trying to get my money on. But eventually, I'm going to find myself in a position where I'm socializing with other people. I'm able to get out of the house because I want to, not because I have to. And I'm socializing with people because I want to, not because I have to. And I'm connecting with new people because I want to, not because I have to, which allows me to do it in a more positive manner. Because when you have to communicate with people, you're pissed off, you're frustrated, you're agitated, and they can sense that. And that frustration lowers your ability to succeed with negotiations. If they were willing to cooperate, if they see that you have a dickish attitude, they're less likely to cooperate with you. So if you went out there when you felt like it, when you were in the mood to deal with some bullshit, like I'm just expecting bullshit today, and while you're not getting bullshit, you happy go lucky. You're gonna get more stuff done. You go into a situation where you already frustrated from the last thing, and you're about to walk into some more stuff, you walk in hostile. And when you walk in hostile, less people are going to cooperate with you. If your hostility starts in this moment, they're going to try to accommodate. But if your hostility started before you got in the building, oh, they just figured you was an asshole at birth. So yeah, I teach people on a regular basis because y'all gotta like and subscribe and make sure y'all mash those reaction buttons. Y'all gotta understand that there's a better way to do life. There's a better way to do life. You're not gonna get immediate results from everything, but what you will get is change. Some slow, some quick. And that's why we're doing this method, because sometimes the quick change, the little things that change quickly, motivate you to endure the things that take time. So the shift is to start treating these habits like the experience points that you collect each day. You're not just going for a walk, you are completing a plus 10 stamina daily quest. You're not just reading 10 pages, you are earning 10 points of intelligence. This simple mental shift makes being consistent feel rewarding instead of uh, feeling like it's punishing. Now, for anybody who plays Dungeons and Dragons, if you're able to build your own character profile, build your skill set that you want to boost up, the kind of person you want to be at in life, and build the skills requirements to meet that, and add points to certain skills that you want to boost up. Your financial knowledge, your communication skills to negotiate deals, your network, which would be the party that you're going to have that you're going to negotiate with. All of these things that you want to boost up, and accomplishing certain tasks in that theme get you points in that area. You can even go one step further and have like levels. After so many points, you level up, and you can keep doing that. And you find yourself in a position where I'm at level 200 right now in life. I'm at level 200 right now in life. But it's going to help you see your current level in different parts of your life, and then design small daily quests that help you level up one mission at a time. And then if you're dealing with this with other people that are doing the same method, you got friends and family members that are doing the same method, y'all can compare scores. Oh, I'm gonna get to level 20 before you, and motivate yourselves to achieve more through healthy competition. The grind is no longer a burden, it is the path to power. The final mechanism we're going to talk about here is going to be the boss battles. And these are your major life milestones and big challenges. Things like running a marathon, paying off all your debt, getting a huge promotion. These aren't just big goals, they are the ultimate test that mark your progress. Framing them as boss battles does something powerful for your mindset because it prepares you for a fight. It acknowledges that it will be hard, it will require a strategy, and you're going to need all the strength that you have built up from your daily grinds. Your excuse me, a lot of times that what we do when we're playing video games and we know that we're coming up to a boss battle, what we do is we go back and grind a little bit further, get a bunch of extra resources, overstock, and then run into that boss battle with overkill, right? If you're on San Andreas, you're about to do a boss battle, you go to ammunitions, you buy a bunch of bazookas, grenades, body armor, all this other stuff that you want to build up to put yourself in a better position to win that battle. If you were doing it in Zelda, you might build up on your arrows. You might buy a bunch of extra hearts. You might buy your life regen thing. Super Mario, you might have 2 or 3 mushrooms and the little leaf thing to turn yourself into a raccoon and the Spitfire thing. You know, you build up on all the resources you think you're going to need to go into that boss battle. If you're doing the same thing in life, you're going to prepare yourself. If you're trying to buy a house, you're going to have the down payment, you're going to have the money for the movers, you're going to have the money for the security deposits for the utilities, you're going to have the scheduled days off for the move, you're going to have the ability to have all the stuff packed. When you accomplish that boss battle, which is moving into a new house, you're already over prepared. All you got to do now is go into the mission. But a lot like in a video game, when you fail a boss battle in a video game, you don't just quit the game. You learn the patterns of the boss, level up the skills that were lacking, and then come back even stronger. You might have been trying to get your driver's license and failed the driver's exam. What questions you failed? Go back and study those. Then come back and retake the test. You might want to retake the test, but you want to retake the test with a different car. Instead of the car you was going to go with, you might go get a better car. You might get a rental car and use the rental car because all they care about is that the vehicle you're using is insured. So you might get a car in better condition than the one you're going to drive every day. The fact is that if you didn't succeed the first time, you figure out why you failed, fix that, and then go back and try again. Don't just give up on it. We need to apply this same thinking to the life's biggest challenges. A setback is not a final defeat. I think the only place that this isn't going to benefit you is dating, when you call yourself trying to pick up this one chick that's not interested in you and you're going to keep trying to win her over. No, fuck that shit. You go, you selected the wrong person, she shut you down, go talk to a completely different person, preferably in a different group. They had their chance. If you went down to door number 1 and door number 1 was a fail, you don't go back to door number 1 and try to succeed. You go try door number 2, see how that one works. But a setback is not a final defeat. It is a chance to learn and respond. The ultimate goal of this system is to guide you towards what you could call level 50, a state where you are living as your best self, fully realized. These boss battles are the gateways to that next level of your life. Every great hero has an origin story. It's that foundation of their identity, which is the source of their why. Before you can start your quest, you need to define who your hero really is. And this is going to mean seeing your challenges as quests, your obstacles as dragons, your daily actions as experience points that lead to real character development. There are going to be 3 steps to creating your heroic identity. Think about this real quick. First, you want to create your origin story. You don't got to spend a lot of time on this. This is going to be where you go beyond a vague desire for a better life and paint a crystal clear picture of the life that you're working towards. This is finding your 20-year plan. Where do you want to be at in 20 years? This isn't just about goals, it is about identity. So let's say, for example, if you want to own your own house in the Philippines, married to a local, 3 kids, reasonable transportation, with no requirement to work. That's the life you want to have, right? Now, that can work for males or females. Now, that's what you want to do. What would you need to do to get there? One, you're going to have an income. If you're trying to go over there as a digital nomad, you need $24,000 a year. 2, you're going to need a passport. 3, you're going to need money for a plane. Are you coming back to America? That's another question. If not, 4, you got to sell all your stuff in America. 5, you have to transition from working in person to working online, or build the type of assets that'll pay you without you having to work. All of these steps have to happen. Then when you get there, you still have to meet somebody. You have to vet that person. You have to connect with that person. You have to create the children. You have to raise the children. You have to get the vehicle. See, all of these things that have to be accomplished, these are the end goal. And then you're reverse engineering how to get there. And as you reverse engineer how to get there, those are going to be the little side quests. Getting a driver's license in the Philippines, that's a side quest, so that you can drive yourself. So you need to have a compelling backstory for your hero, which includes identifying your superhero alter ego. And this is going to be the version of yourself that you've always dreamed of becoming. Person that, like Steven, if you want to be the kind of guy that has a 3-piece suit every day of the week, that's your alter ego. You're going to work to get there, right? So you want to take a moment and really think about this. If you were a character in a movie, who would you be? What are your core values? What drives you? What past struggles have made you resilient? Your origin story gives you the powerful emotional reasons for why you are in this adventure in the first place. And you can write all this stuff into a personal diary, go back and reread it, which is actually very important for you. You can type this up on a computer, go back and reread it, or turn it into an audio file, go back and listen to the origin story of who you are and who you want to be, where you came from, where you're at now, how much you've accomplished in your life, and really value and respect the success that you've made for yourself. And if you do this right, you can turn it into a book and sell it and make money. I'm just telling you. You go through the struggle, you go through the trials and tribulations, you reach the promised land, and you put a how I did it book out there for those people who ain't did it yet, bruh. Just trying to tell you. Now, maybe your hero's a scholar, dedicated to a life of learning, or a guardian, focused on protecting your family, or the explorer, driven by deep curiosity for the world. Y'all know all these females like to travel, but they don't never make their own money to travel for themselves. They go find a man that got money to take them traveling. Y'all know what's going on. Y'all make sure y'all mash them reaction buttons while y'all watching the show. Write this stuff down. Describe the type of person you want to be. What do you do every day? How do you carry yourself? What skills do you have? This alter ego isn't a fantasy. It's going to be a blueprint. Second, you want to cross the threshold. In the hero's journey, this is the moment the hero leaves their ordinary world and step into the adventure. For you, this means going from ideas to actual actions. This is where you design your personal game with those clear, specific quests that we talked about earlier in the show. Instead of making New Year's resolutions that you forget by February, you create a game plan. And you can continue to create new quests along the way. Look at the alter ego that you just defined. What skills do they have? What have they accomplished? Now, break that down. If your alter ego is financially free, a quest might be set up an automatic investment of $100 a month. If they're strong, a quest could be complete 10 consecutive pull-ups. If they're a world traveler, a quest might be plan to book a solo trip to a country where I don't speak the language. And why is it important to do a solo trip? Because I don't give a fuck about the next person. I'm not trying to impress the next person. I'm trying to improve myself, right? So if somebody else wants to go on this trip, they can cover themselves, but I'm trying to plan for my solo trip. So if you say, hey, I'm going to Spain next year. If you want to go to Spain next year, you better get your shit together, because we are only going to Spain together if you are carrying your weight, because I am going to Spain even if you don't go. So let's say we date one another and I plan on going to Spain next year. Then when next year comes, oh, I don't want to go. I'm grounded here. Blah, blah, blah. Bye, bitch. I'm gone. I said I was going to Spain last year. When you met me, I was going to Spain. So now that I'm going to Spain, don't come sitting over here trying to tell me like this is a surprise now. Those are the villains that try to detour you from your success. You want to turn your origin story into a playable game. You're crossing the threshold from wishing that you had the life that you wanted to actually doing what it takes to get the life that you want. Third, most crucial step is to identify your dragons. Every hero has a nemesis. Your dragons are the specific obstacles in your way. And we all have them, but we often leave them as vague, shadowy fears. It's time to name them. Your dragon might be procrastination, the beast that whispers, you can do it later. It might be an imposter syndrome, the monster that tells you that you're not good enough. Or maybe it's perfectionism, the dragon that stops you from even starting. It could be um, cynicism and devaluation, where the obstacle could be the people, the naysayers that tell you that you're not going to achieve anything, that you're not going to amount to the goals and ambitions that you're uh, 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 trying to achieve, the ones that devalue your vision as childish and immature because they don't want you to succeed away from them. It could be that. Once you name your dragons, you can create a battle plan to defeat those dragons. For dragons of procrastination, your weapon might be to be the one just rule, the just one rule for it. And what that means is just do one thing at a time. Instead of looking at 80 different things, oh, I got to do all these things. You know what? I'll do this stuff tomorrow. Let me just do one today. Let me just do one in the hour. And if I feel like it, I'll do another. And you'll do one and then do another and then do another. And if I have time, I'll do one more. And you find yourself doing 6, right? So the just one rule, this works. For imposter syndrome, your shield could be a brag file, all of your past wins. Instead of telling yourself you're not good enough, you talk about all the things to yourself, all the things that you've done. The most powerful part of this is going to be how it changes your relationship with your failure. The system teaches you to treat failure like a video game. And death in a video game, you just respond at the last checkpoint with full health and, most importantly, new knowledge about the enemy. Failure is no longer a source of shame, it's data. It's part of the game. You learn the dragon's attack patterns and come back better prepared. How many times you fought Sephiroth before you actually beat him? Not too many people can say they went over there and beat him first time around. So they went out, they got their ass whooped the first time around, and then they went and boosted themselves up. They came back, they got their ass whooped one more time, and then they went back and boosted themselves up. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Those of y'all that play Kingdom Hearts, y'all went out there thinking that y'all had the master key and y'all were gonna beat Sephiroth. You realize you had to go get 18 more keys and then come back and try this one more time with 5 or 6 different people, where 3 of them had a lot of healing power in order for you to outstand all of the offense that that man brought to you. But you learned that you needed a lot of defense, you needed a lot of regeneration, you needed a lot of health, you needed all of this stuff to beat this enemy. That's gonna be the same thing in life. In order to get your promotion, you got to show up for work on time every day. You got to not call out every day. You got to overperform your colleagues. You have to be able to do the new job title. So you got to know what that is, right? Then you have to promote yourself to your employer to get it, because you can't just meet all of the expectations. You have to request it, right? You've ever been on a game where you meet the qualifications for the upgrade and you have to push the upgrade button before it starts doing the upgrade? That's exactly what happens with a promotion on a job. You meet the qualifications for the promotion. Now you have to push the upgrade button and say, hey, boss, I believe I qualify for a promotion. Look at my portfolio. Look at what I've done. Look at what I'm doing. Look at what I'm capable of doing. You know? And if they're like, you're missing X, Y, and Z idea, okay, then double back and then go in and get it done. She says, sounds expensive. How? How does improving yourself sound expensive? How does deciding to make changes in your life so that you're not wasting money and prioritizing the money that you do spend on improving yourself, making changes like time management, making changes like personal development, and then self advocation? How does that sound expensive? Or did you just select the wrong word? Because so far in life, I actually have not talked to you yet about spending a bunch of money outside of the $100 a month, which is like 1,200 a year in automatic bill pay. That's going to take the money out of your account and put it into an investment portfolio that's going to generate you revenue as a success option. That's like the only financial step that I've talked about so far. The rest of it was more like just changing the way you treat yourself, and then changing the way you prioritize your your life story. So I don't know where does the expensive come from, because I'm not like, oh yeah, buy this, then buy that, then buy the other, then DLCs. No, I'm not talking about that. So how is it expensive? It might feel expensive, especially if you have to pay money to change your life. But I mean, you know, are you if you got to go to rehab, that might sound expensive. You know, if you got to go to DUI class, that might sound expensive to reinstate your driver's license. But I mean, prioritizing how you value yourself and then prioritizing how you perform, that's free. Those are the things in life that don't cost you a dollar. How to put yourself before everybody else that you value, that's free. How to reward yourself with self compliments instead of just buying yourself a bunch of gifts, that's free. You know, that it a composition notebook at Walmart is less than a dollar. If you fill that book up with all of the best things about you, and then fill that book up with all the accomplishments that you made, I mean, that's free. Well, that's not free, but that's less than a dollar. How expensive is that for you to have a book of success, of self success? And then if you're talking about building a story and then selling it online, I mean, yeah, you could do an ebook for like $50. You could do an ebook for like 29.95. You can sell your life story for uh uh you could sell your life story in volumes and sell it at like $20 a book and have them buy the whole buy the whole collection. Have a $200 collection. You know what I mean? And with the way people are willing to spend money at $20 a book, it's especially if they're going to build their life off of it. How many people do you really need to be a millionaire at $20 a book? A few 100,000 people buy your book, you're a millionaire, right? So in a good RPG, your character has a character sheet with stats, with strength, intelligence, charisma, and so on. So to build a great hero, you can't just pull all your points on one stat. You try, but you find yourself struggling in certain areas, because if you put all of your area on defense, you have no offense. The only way you can beat your opponent is by having high stamina, and they wear themselves out. If you put all of your stats on offense, you have no defense, and then you can't protect yourself. So you have to have high agility, a high agility and uh, uh, um, durability, so that you not durability, because durability is defense. It is dexterity, so that you can maneuver and dodge the attack so that you don't get hit. So you have to spread your skill points around. And this is going to be the same thing that's true with life. To truly level up, we need to grow in a balanced way across the key areas of our existence. And this framework is built around 6 foundational pillars. Think of these as the core stats on your life's character sheet. The magic here is that your work on all of the things that you're trying to accomplish are being done at the same time, even with tiny little actions. You're jotting down everything that needs to be done, and then you're taking care of certain things step by step. Why is this? Because progress in one area creates momentum in all of the others. A small win with your health gives you energy to tackle challenges at work. Strengthening your mind strengthens your negotiation skills. Strengthening your negotiation skills strengthens your ability to articulate. Strengthening your ability to negotiate and articulate and strengthening your mind strengthens your decision making skills. Developing emotional intelligence reduces impulse decision making. So, a stronger relationship will give you the resilience to step out of your comfort zone. And this synergy is what creates truly happier and more successful individuals, such as yourself. So, let's break down each pillar and find a small quest that you can start with. First pillar, physical development, your character, stamina, and health bar. This is going to be the fundamental foundations for everyone and everything. Your body is the only vehicle that you have for this adventure. And if it's running on empty, you won't get far. A huge part of how you feel on any given day is tied directly to what you eat and how you move. But leveling up your health doesn't mean spending 2 hours in the gym or starting a ridiculous diet overnight. Remember, small compounding changes. So, for instance, studies show that even a short daily walk can significantly lower blood pressure, reduce anxiety, and cut your risk of chronic illnesses. This shows how a small change can have a huge impact. Something like normally I take my dog for a walk, and once around the block, it's about 15 minutes. Sometimes I got a little extra time. I take 2 laps around the block. Now I'm out there for 30 minutes. Sometimes I take the dog around the block 3 times out of the day. That's 45 minutes out of the day. Sometimes I take them around the block twice each time I take them out of the day, out that same day. Now it's 6 times around the block, which turns into an hour and a half. So from half an hour a day worth of walking to an hour and a half a day of walking is the motivation of going from once around the block to twice around the block each time I go outside. And I'm going to go outside at least twice, once before bed and once when I get up. And I might throw an extra one in the middle of the day just because I got extra time. She said, "Don't forget that like button cycle." Yeah, don't forget that like button, side quest. Mash the like button, hit the subscription button, mash those reaction buttons. Because the more y'all mash those reaction buttons, the more people y'all see show up. Your small intentional quest, like commit to a 10-minute walk every single day. To make it stick, use habit stacking. After I finish my morning coffee, I will immediately go for my walk. Take that 10-minute walk. When you got pets, it's easier to do. The dog's got to go to the bathroom. I'm going to give him 15 minutes. I'm going to make sure that he does every deed that needs to be done before I bring him back. If you decide that if you've once around the block, I didn't see what I wanted to see from my animal, I'm going to take him around the block one more time. I've got a dog that likes to mark everything. So he's not going to go to the bathroom one time. He's going to go to the bathroom 5 times in 5 different places. Then he's going to drop a deuce. Then he's going to use the bathroom 2 more times. Then he's done. So that means my goal is to see 8 stops out of the dog. If I take 1 lap around the block and I only see 4 stops, I got to go around the block 1 more time. This dynamic is like, might as well do a 30-minute walk. That way I don't got to take them out a second time a day. I can take them out later tonight. But that 30 minutes in the morning and then 30 minutes at night, that's an hour out of the day to get them 8 stops out the dog in one trip. Instead of doing 1 stop, and then every 3 hours I got to take them out, which is still going to put me out there for almost the same amount of time. But now it's an annoyance because it feels like a chore. I just took you out. I don't feel like going out, right? So changing that dynamic is how you're able to make yourself consistent. How to level up, this is going to be key. Once that automatic starts happening, you can aim for bigger quests like learning a martial art or yoga, optimizing your sleep, taking your ass to bed on time, turning shit off instead of listening to it as background noise when you're actually interested in what you're listening to. One of the things about background noise is that it's supposed to be noise. It is not supposed to be something that catches your attention. So putting on your favorite TV show that you're binge watching to go to sleep is going to keep you awake the entire time. If you really want to binge watch something that is going to be static noise in the background because for some reason you can't hear yourself think without going insane, put on something boring. Put on something you don't like. Put on something that get on your damn nerves, and then take your ass to bed. That's how you accomplish that. Or completing a handstand push-up. You can throw that in there as exercise quests. The second pillar is going to be mental development. Your intelligence and wisdom stats is important to develop. This is going to be about sharpening your mind, developing self-awareness, and improving your emotional regulation. A leveled up mind learns faster and handles stress with more ease without having to go through chaos. But again, learn a new language. This can feel overwhelming, so we start smaller. We use the system called just one rule. Your small, intentional quest, commit to just one rule for a mental skill. Read just one page of a book each night. Do just one lesson on a language app. Meditate for just 1 minute. The goal is to make the barrier to start a ridiculously low levels that you can't say no to. You fully find yourself often in that just one area that turns into 5 or 10 once you get going. Just 1 minute of meditation. If you can sit still, quiet, close your eyes, and wait. I want to be here at least 1 minute. You find yourself there for 10. When you look at the clock, like, oh, I did 10 minutes. If I can do 10 minutes, I want to do 20. It's almost like that crab call. If you close your eyes, get away from the clock, sit there and wait, you will find yourself in a meditation stance for 45 minutes. Wait, sit there till it hurts, and then see how long you sat there. This is going to be one of those level up areas because the small habit builds the foundation for epic quests like learning a new instrument or taking a course in a complex subject that fascinates you. You're not going to master everything in life, but some of the little things that you learn along the way that helps you get by, because the jack of all trades may not be the master of none, but they have surpassed the average person where they can get the job done. The third pillar is relationships and social connections. This is going to be your guild, your allies, the network that I keep telling you guys to build. We are social creatures, and the quality of our relationships has a powerful impact on our well-being. Studies on life satisfaction consistently show that social support and strong relationships have a massive effect on happiness, but it is easy to let those connections fade. Your small intentional quest, send one text message each day, just genuinely connecting with someone. No request, you're not asking for shit, no logistics, just a hey, I was thinking about you, or sharing a funny memory. How this is going to level you up? From this small action, you can build towards a quest of creating your own guild. People that you can count on to come through when they're not bringing you their bullshit. A few accountability partners who share similar goals. They might be playing this game with you, and y'all are going to support each other. I made it to level 10. Let's beat level 20 together. Y'all can have guild quests. Start up a business with a friend. Get it fully established. Y'all can have a 5-person guild quest. Start up a C corporation. Y'all can start up an online C corporation. Build it up to a level where the 5 of y'all can make money together and then split the profits. And when you split the profits, you want to split the profits +1 ways. And why do I say +1 ways? For every person in there plus the business. The business gets paid too. That way the profits from the business is paid for by the business. Guaranteedly, you'll find yourself in a position where if 5 of y'all come together, and let's say you put 60% back into the business and the rest of y'all divide the other 40% however many ways. If you divided 40% 5 ways between the 5 people that are going to help you build this business, y'all going to find yourselves with a lot of shit going on. Y'all going to have a bunch of advertisement. Y'all going to have a bunch of clientele. You're going to have enough clientele for 5 people to have a job. You should have the ability to hire 6 or 7 people and train them to replace the 5 of y'all. This is how you scale up. Now, our 4th pillar is going to be leaving your comfort zone. You want to think of this as exploring the map. Growth and comfort simply cannot coexist. If you stay in a small, safe area that you've always known, you will never discover what lies just beyond the horizon. If Goku never pushed himself to the next level, he would have never known how far he could go. If everyone who told him he was weak convinced him to believe that he was weak, he would have never trained to be stronger. And if he never trained to be stronger, he would have never been the greatest. You got to understand, people tell you that you're a loser. Just because I lost doesn't make me a loser. It just means I haven't won yet. All right? Just because you're not satisfied doesn't mean that I can't get satisfied and then find somebody satisfied with me. Plain and simple. Your comfort zone is a cage, even if it's a comfortable cage. Your small quest is going to be an intentional one. Do one tiny thing each week that is new or slightly uncomfortable. Try a food that you've never had. Listen to music genres that you normally ignore or skip past. Take on a different route home than what you normally take. Explore the neighborhood. Go down roads you haven't been down before. See what's out there. The point is to train your courage muscle with very light weight. Mama used to always say you should have 5 ways to get home, if not more than that. You should find 5 different ways to get home. Even if you live down a dead-end street, you should have 5 ways to get to that dead-end street. That is not the same path, not the same right turn, not the same left turn, not the same alleyway, not the same directions. If one route to get home is blocked off, you know 4 other ways to get there. Ain't nobody, a lot of people right now, like and subscribe, hit that reaction button, thinking, damn, I didn't know that. I know 2 ways to get home. The front way and the back way. You need 5 ways to get to your house. Now, how to level up? These small acts of exploration are going to build confidence for major quests. Y'all remember when we was kids going through the woods? Once we figured out how to jump the fence, we was traveling through the woods. We go find this abandoned building. We go explore the abandoned building. Y'all remember when we was wandering through the woods, we find a creek or a river or a stream, and we go out there, we set up a fort. Y'all remember when we was out there by them forts and the creeks and stuff, and we build a rope swing, and we start going out there playing? That's our secret spot, right? You remember how nervous you was trying to wander through the woods until you found that secret spot? Remember how uncomfortable y'all was traveling with sometimes you was traveling with some of the people that you didn't really know that well, but y'all knew their names because y'all seen each other in school a lot of times. Then when y'all start hanging out with one another and y'all start getting along with one another and y'all start building a relationship with one another in that spot, now you have the confidence to go to that spot with no problem. Now, 20 years later, you're looking forward to going back to that spot. You remember how we all met here? Our origin story started at this one location in the middle of nowhere. But day one of the Goonies, everybody didn't know each other. Day one of the Latchkey Kids, everybody didn't know each other. You have to step outside of your comfort zone. You can do things like traveling solo to a new country, flying if you've never flown before, taking a public speaking class, and then speaking in public. The fifth pillar, financial independence and careers. This is going to be your goal, your inventory, your skill tree. Money isn't a goal of life, but it is a tool that unlocks the freedom and security in that life. And this pillar is about building meaningful skills and designing a career that feels like a calling, not just a job. Small quests that are intentional quests. Here, automate one small financial action. Set up an automatic transfer just for $25 from your checking account to your savings account. You can set up another one for $100 from your checking account to your brokerage account, where you're putting away $125. Whatever you do, the amount is less important than the building system. Because if you automate these automatic transfers and then you automate those investment opportunities, you can build the generational wealth where you can then automate automatic payments to you, where you can then use those payments to pay off whatever credit cards that are charging for all the transactions that you're buying, because you have the freedom to buy. You can buy a lot more shit when you got more money, but you can't buy nothing if you ain't got nothing. So you got to start putting money away to get something so that you can have something to spend on something else. Now, how are you going to level up with this? The simple habit is the first step towards epic financial quests, like building a business. If you need down payments for the business, if you're self-funded, it's easier to get started than what it is to try to find an investor. It's easier to find an investor with an already functioning business than what it is to find an investor that's on paper. Paying off all your consumer debts, paying off your student loans, developing a high income skill. This is beneficial for you. Finally, the sixth pillar is helping others and purposes. This is your legacy quest, because a life focused only on yourself eventually feels empty. Deep, lasting motivation comes from contributing to something larger than you, working on the rest of the people in your guild. Your small, intentional quest: one day, once a day, perform one skill, anonymous act of kindness, or deliberate act of kindness to one of the people in your guild. Let someone go ahead of you in line. Let someone merge in front of you instead of trying to close in a gap. Wave traffic by. Pay for somebody's fare on the bus. Let them keep the difference on your cab fare. Give them the parking pass for your car so that they can keep the rest of the money on that parking pass. Leave a positive comment on creators' work. Pick up a piece of trash that you didn't put on the ground. The goal is to build a mindset of service without expecting anything in return. Give a positive review to the last 10 places that you went to on Google reviews. How this levels you up? This daily practice can lead to your ultimate legacy quest, like volunteering for a cause that you're passionate about, or mentoring someone who hasn't gotten as far in life as you have. Because one of the things that we've always said is that you know what you're doing when you're capable of teaching this to somebody else. Working on these 6 pillars in parallel is how you build a robust balance and truly leveled up character. Now, if you find this guide valuable and you're starting to see how this could work in your own life, you want to take a quick moment and hit those subscription buttons if you haven't done so yet. Like and subscribe, mash those reaction buttons, because we're building a community of people committed to their own adventures. And I have so many more strategies to share. Your subscriptions is like joining the guild. It costs you nothing, but it signals you're serious about your own journey. Then if you really want to get serious, you want to invest in the opportunity to expand, you dive into the membership and you see yourself getting all of the extra behind the scenes stuff that doesn't go up on the main screen. Now, halfway through, that we have the mechanics and the character sheet, let's talk about the deep psychological aspects of this that makes this system work. It's not just about playing a game. It's about fundamentally rewiring your brain for success. The most powerful concept is identity based transformation. The reason most attempts at change fail is that people try to change their behavior while clinging to their old identities. You can't become a healthy person if you still see yourself as a lazy person on a diet. This system works from the inside out. Every small promise you keep to yourself, every 10-minute walk, every page read, every dollar saved serves as a tiny piece of evidence that you are capable and trustworthy to yourself. This is how you quietly shift your image. Your identity changes from I'm someone who wants to change to I am the kind of person who follows through. As your identity shifts, your behavior starts to align with this identity naturally. It becomes easier to make the right choice because it's just who you are now. Me always coming to the show in a suit. It's not that hard to come to a show in a suit because all I own are suits. The guy in the suit is who I am now. So I don't have to pretend like I'm the guy in the suit. I am the guy in the suit. If I blindfolded myself and had someone else dress me with the stuff in my closet, I'm gonna end up in a suit because that's all it's here. If success is who I want to be, I surround myself with success. I can't touch anything that's not successful. Next, let's talk about habit stacking and behavioral automation. A key part of this is attaching new tiny habits to habits that you already have. This is going to be called habit stacking. For example, after I brush my teeth, I will do 1 minute of stretching. After I put my dinner plate in the dishwasher, I will read one page of a book. This hijacks a fundamental truth about our brains. They are wired to be efficient. Y'all know this habit stacking. After we say our prayers and take our vitamins, we take our behinds to bed. After we brush our teeth, we go say our prayers. Before we say our prayers, did we brush our teeth? After we eat dinner, we take a bath and go to bed. Before we go to bed, did we take a bath? Did we have dinner? Chain of events. This is going to wire our brains to be efficient. Research suggests that a huge portion of our daily life, some studies estimate around 40 to 45%, is driven by unconscious habits, not deliberate decisions, which is why we like 9 to 5 jobs, because we show up to work, we do what we're told, what we know we're supposed to do, we turn our brains off, and we just go through the motions. And then we come home, we lose track of time. We can hate our job and find ourselves coming to work an hour early, staying an hour late because we turned our brain off when we showed up, and we didn't turn our brain off until turn our brain back on until we clocked out. You find yourself an hour after your shift was over, still at work doing your job because you have on autopilot started doing the tasks that you know need to be done. And there's more tasks than can be done in your shift. So this means a lot of your life is already on autopilot, whether you want it to be or not. So by linking a new habit to an old one, you're using that autopilot for your own benefit. I do my podcast every day. After my podcast, I take the dog for a walk. So the dog goes out every day after the podcast. You're not relying on memory or motivation anymore. You are just letting the new behavior piggyback on the already established one that is your neural pathway. Your environment also silently shapes these habits. Research shows that changing your surroundings to make good habits easier and bad habits harder makes you significantly more likely to stick with new behaviors. Your kitchen, your phone's home screen, the layout of your room, they're all quietly shaping your future. Want to drink more water? Leave a bottle on your desk. Want to read more? Leave a book on your pillow. Got a book right here. Okay. I'm telling y'all, I don't just talk about it, I do it. You're designing your environment to make your quest easier. Finally, let's cover some advanced tactics for when you're playing on hard mode because life is going to get crazy real quick. You'll get sick. Work will get overwhelming. Emergencies will happen. In these moments, an all or nothing mindset causes most people to quit everything entirely. And this particular system prepares you for that. So the first tactic is using difficulty modifiers. When life gets insane, you don't quit the game, you just lower the difficulty. Your quest was to go to the gym for an hour. You modify it down to 10 push ups at home or a 15-minute workout at the house. If your quest was writing 1,000 words, you modify it to writing a sentence or fulfilling your first paragraph. The goal is to keep your streak alive and maintain the identity of someone who shows up, even in a tiny way. The second tactic is to create emergency health positions or health potions. Emergency health potions. In the game, you use a health potion when you're about to lose. In life, these are pre-planned responses for when your motivation crashes. What will you do when you're too exhausted to cook a healthy meal? Your health potion might be a pre-made health meal in the freezer, where on days when you had extra time and energy, you created certain meals and then you pre-packaged them and put them in the freezer. This gives you the ability to take one or two of them out every day and eat those until you have time and energy to make better meals or make more meals. This keeps you with the ability to eat healthy. What will you do when you feel overwhelmed with anxiety? Your potion could be a specific 5-minute breathing exercise, 20 minutes of meditation. Turn everything off around you, close your eyes in the dark, and just sit there leaning up against the wall, thinking if that's the best that you can do. You decide on these strategies before you need them so that in the moment of crisis, you don't have to think about what you're going to do. You just act on it. Somebody getting on your damn nerves, and you know that when you get frustrated, you're going to count backwards like Incredible Hulk. Just do it. If you're going to be the kind of person that's going to think of 45 things that you could do to get yourself in and out of trouble in this situation, you just sit there, stare at the other person, say absolutely nothing, and just think, what are all the ways that I can resolve this situation? Don't even have to be positive ways, but these are all the ways that I can resolve the situation. From the worst case scenario to the best case scenario. While you're going through all of the entertaining ways that could probably get you into a lot of trouble, you find yourself coming across a couple of them that are funny. You might chuckle a little bit and then realize this is bullshit. I don't have to deal with this, and then walk away. And this is going to bring us back to that just one rule, your ultimate weapon against procrastinations. The feeling of being overwhelmed is what stops most of us from starting. The just one rule is going to bypass this by making the barrier to entry almost zero. You want to remember to commit just one rep at the gym. You want to remember to just go to the gym. Go to the gym, walk around, look at the gym equipment. Try to get in a rep. Try to get in a rep on each one of the items in the gym. There's 30 pieces of equipment in the gym. If you do one rep on each item, you're going to do 30 reps before you leave the gym. Plain and simple. Just one paragraph if you're writing a paper. Just one paragraph if you're reading a story. The secret is that starting is the hardest part of any journey. Once you've done that one rep, you often find the energy for a few more. There's a reason the title of this guide includes the words now. Starting immediately is about harnessing the power of momentum. Procrastination is a cycle of fueled by inaction. It's easy to do nothing and then pass that off till tomorrow. And you keep passing it off till tomorrow until you look back to last week and realize I ain't did shit. The longer you wait, the bigger the task is going to feel, especially if the task has a due date. And the harder it feels, the less likely you're going to start. Now you're past the due date. The only way to break that cycle is with one tiny immediate action. Waiting for Monday or the first of the month is a trap that keeps people stuck forever, because by the time you get to Monday, you might not feel like doing it. And by the time you get to the first of the month, you might be overwhelmed at the first of the month, especially if you put everything off till the exact same day. I put a lot of my tasks off until Thursday. I find myself not getting done all the things I wanted to get done on Thursday. So what do? I have extra day on Saturday, get stuff done on Saturday. Why wait till next Thursday? If I got Saturday free, I need to go ahead and do it on Saturday. I got Sunday free, I might as well do some more stuff on Sunday. Whatever I can get done, I should get done. So that when Thursday rolls around, I don't have as much to do. Taking one small step today begins the compounding process that over months and even years produces a much happier and healthier life. So think about it this way: automating small, healthy choices, what economists call pre commitment, reduces decision fatigue. So if you have a Monday meal, Tuesday meal, Wednesday meal, Thursday meal, Friday meal, and then weekend adventure, like we can eat whatever, 5 days out of the week, you're not thinking what you're going to get. Today's Monday. I'm going to grab X, Y, and Z. If you eat the same thing for breakfast every day, I don't have to think about it. If I made it yesterday to eat today, I don't have to think about it. Matter of fact, because it's easier for you to cook on a full stomach, you can eat breakfast today and then make breakfast for tomorrow, depending on what it is. Then you can, whenever you end up in a situation where you don't have enough time to make breakfast, you can just eat yesterday's breakfast today, and I'll make tomorrow's breakfast tonight when I come in. I know that doesn't feel right when you start talking about pancakes and stuff to that effect, but it really depends on what you're trying to do. Because if you want a breakfast burrito, you can make a breakfast burrito. You can make like 10 or 15 breakfast burritos, pre-package them, and then eat 3 breakfast burritos a day. And you can make breakfast burritos once a week. Because what do you need for breakfast burritos? Tortillas, scrambled eggs, smoked sausage, some vegetables. You can make a breakfast burrito. Quesadilla sauce, nacho cheese sauce. Doesn't have to be a healthy breakfast burrito. It could be the same shit you get from Taco Bell, but you can make it at your house in bulk and cheaper. And now all is just like a little bit of moisture, whether you want to use water or milk or whatever, a little bit of moisture, put it in a microwave, 2 minutes, boom. You can wake up out of bed, put your breakfast in the microwave, turn on the coffee pot, and by the time the coffee finished pouring, your breakfast is ready. You can do this for yourself on your day off. This is going to free up a lot of mental energy from making dozens of small decisions every single day, allowing you to focus that energy on your bigger goals and the boss battles that you have to deal with day by day. So it's time to stop theorizing and start playing. It's time for you and your very first quest to begin today. I want you guys to choose one pillar from the 6 that we discussed, just one. And within that one pillar, identify one, just one micro habit, one tiny quest that you can complete today, not tomorrow, today, tonight, before you go to bed, first thing in the morning, as soon as you wake up, within the next 24 hours. What can you get done? Maybe for physical development, it's a 10-minute walk after dinner. For financial independence, it's taking 5 minutes right now to set up that automated savings transfer. It could be Steven setting up that brokerage account that he promised me 4 weeks ago he was going to do. For mental development, it could be downloading a meditation app and doing the 1-minute intro. For relationships, it's sending that one text message to somebody you told yourself you were going to message a long time ago. Doesn't have to be a romantic partner. It could just be somebody that you wanted to establish a positive connection with. It could be a business message. You know, hey, I remember meeting you at such and such seminar. How's the business going? Simple connection. This isn't just a suggestion, it is a challenge. And there's a good reason for it. A large online program with thousands of participants found that doing just one small positive activity per day for only 1 week led to significant improvements in stress and well being. One small action once a day. That's all it takes to start an upward spiral. Because the pure dopamine boost that you get from the one small action leads to multiple small actions. You lead to finding your own personal motivation to keep doing actions because you can complete 30 or 40 or 50 quests in an hour, 200, 300 quests a day, 1,000 quests in a week. And then you realize, shit, I could be doing so many things that I can benefit from myself. Spend more time teaching yourself what needs to be done and less time teaching, disciplining yourself for the things you did wrong. So, what will it be for you? What's your first quest? Pause and decide right now. We've covered a lot today. But if you take away only one thing, let it be this: you are the hero of your own story, and the game has already begun. You don't need to quit your job or become a completely different person overnight. You just need to start playing the game that you are already in with a new set of rules. Now, we've learned that real change comes from a simple system. Reframe your life as an adventure, turn your goals into epic quests, turn your daily habits into a way to grind for experience points, and see your challenges as the boss battles that lead to the next level. We've defined the 6 pillars of a leveled up life: physical, mental, relationships, comfort zone, finances, and purpose, because every man needs a purpose. And we've seen how tiny, consistent actions in these areas compound over time. Most importantly, we've learned that by keeping small promises to yourself, you fundamentally change your identity. You have the controller. You get to decide the quest that you're going to take on. It doesn't have to be the same quest as your partner. Y'all can be on different quests and meet up somewhere in the middle. But you decide how you respond when you fail. And then you get to decide when you are going to start, when you're going to restart, when you're going to retry that failure. The answer to the last one should always be now. Your adventure is waiting for you, and it's time for you to level up. Now, I want you to turn over to your own personal ability to find the motivation to get done, to get everything done. And we're going to use this space to build our guild. Let me know in the comment section below or off to the side, what is the one quest that you are starting today? Declare it, write it down, share it. Share this show with everybody that you know that can benefit from it. By sharing it, you're going to make it real, and you're going to let this community become your accountability partners. Let's see what adventures that we can start right here, right now. I'm going to be reading through them. I'm going to be cheering you guys on, and I'm going to be watching your quest as time goes on. I hold you guys accountable. I'll let you know. Hey, didn't you say you were going to do X, Y, and Z? I haven't seen it yet. First step is download. Second step is set up the account. There's no reason why you can't start it today. There's no reason why you can't get there yesterday. Download the app, set up the account, send $5. You can do one step each day, and you're in there. He said more consistency in the gym. Fantastic way to go about doing things. Fantastic. That's the best way to get in there. I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some daily exercises beyond walking the dog. I'm gonna try to get in 5 push-ups every day. I'm gonna try to see if I can turn 5 push-ups into 20 push-ups. I already said that one of the things I was talking to my father about this. I said, man, I'm gonna get a pull-up bar. I'm gonna get a the adjustable weight set, and I'm gonna go from light lifting to heavy lifting at the house. I'm actually gonna try to see if I can set up my own personal gym at the house and just get the ability to build strength in the muscles, because as we get older we get physically weaker if we don't exercise. And what we used to be able to lift with one hand, it takes like 4 people to lift because we get old. And building that body muscle, I want to have that Dwayne the Rock Johnson before Tooth Fairy. I want to have that big physique. I want to have that John Cena Marine physique. I want to have that Cody Rhodes Marine 2 physique. I want to have that Kane Hills Have Eyes physique. I want to be out there. You know what I mean? And that's in order for me to get that, I got to put in that effort. Because I do have it downloaded, uh, paying off a few more debts, and I'm on it. That's no excuse though. Let me tell you right now. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing. You already downloaded it. It's free to set up the account. So you just put your name in there, set up everything, link the email to it, and you're great, right? That part's free. Now, here's the other part. You're saying, oh, I'm trying to pay off all of my debt, this, that, and the third. I respect that. But if you could have bought you a bag of chips this last week, you could have skipped that bag of chips and put $5 on the account. You got started. It's not about putting $10,000 in there on your first download. You could just remember I told you, whenever you wanted to buy something irresponsible, instead of buying that irresponsible thing, transfer that money to your brokerage account. So whenever you was at the bar hanging out with your friends and they tried to talk you into spending $20 at the bar, you decide not to spend $20 at the bar, you transfer $20 to your brokerage account. Every time you are sitting there talking to a chick and you decide that you might want to take her out to dinner, you think about how much you would have paid for her for dinner, you transfer that to your brokerage account. Every time you decide to impulse buy on something you don't need, a pack of cigarettes, a case of beer, instead of buying that pack of cigarettes or case of beer, you transfer that money to your brokerage account. If you would have spent the money anyway, instead of spending it on something that doesn't benefit you, you transfer it to your brokerage account. You will find out that over the course of a year, what you used to do that was bad financial decisions are now turning into financial brokerage decisions that are benefiting you in the future, where you ultimately have everything that you need to succeed. So it's not about, oh, I need to pay off all of my debts. Yes, that's highly important. But dude, if you could have put $5 less into your gas tank because you sit somewhere leaving your engine running for no reason instead of turning off your car, and you could just turn off your car, and that extra $5 that you didn't waste on leaving your engine running, you could switch that over to your brokerage account. There's a way if you have the will. But yes, you do need to pay a lot of your debts down. But guess what you can do with paying your debts down if you have all this extra money generating revenue on the side? You can take some of the money from your brokerage account and start paying some of your debts. You can pay down credit cards, revolve credit, like I was telling you guys before. The extra money that's coming out of your brokerage accounts can start helping you pay some of those debts. Yes, you do want to pay down a lot of debt, but it's not about like, well, I want to get rid of all my debt first and then I want to start saving. You want to start saving while you're paying down the debt, because the more you save, the more you have to pay on debt. You know what I mean? He said, I have some Bowflex dumbbells that the weight can change. They are awesome. I recommend checking them out. I want to do Bowflex dumbbells, but that machine, when I looked at the one that I'm thinking about, cost more than what I was willing to pay. But I have found that you can use elastic bands, the resistance bands, and then you can grab you some free weight dumbbells, and between the elastic bands and the free weight dumbbells, you can have the Bowflex setup without having to pay $1,500 for that machine. Because all you really need, matter of fact, if you have a pull-up bar, that might be like 15, 20 bucks. Some 250-pound resistance bands, that's like 10 bucks. And then like 50-pound weights that you can get a set of adjustable weights for like 20 bucks, and you spend like 150 bucks at the most, and you can have the exact same Bowflex setup. It's just like a makeshift one, right? But if you have that, it's better to have the resistance bands from the Bowflex where you're using the machine to keep the weight steady than it is for you to use the free weights like prison style like we used to do back in the day. It's better to have the machine keep the weight steady, and then you pull on the cables. So the Bowflex style machines are definitely better than the old school free weight system. But hey, if you're going to start somewhere, you want to start from if you start with the 5 or 10 pound weights, you can start with those. But I would do the adjustable ones where you have the single adjustable ones, then you could put them at 5 pounds and increase it to 50 pounds. And the reason why I like the adjustable ones price wise is because if you buy it with 75 pounds of weight, you can start at 5 pounds and just adjust it. And instead of having a bunch of different weights from 5 all the way to 75, and you're no longer using the 5, you have a adjustable weight set that you can just change the individual weight until you get to where you're trying to be at, and you're always using those weights. You're always going to use those free weights. So that's one of the ones I was going to get into, because every decision that I make is a financial decision for longevity. I'm not going to buy a 5 pound dumbbell that I'm only going to use until the 5 pound dumbbell is too light. I'm going to buy an adjustable dumbbell that I can put 75 pounds on, and anywhere between 5 and 75 pounds, I'm going to use all of those weights at some point. That allows me to get a little bit better. Is that these are actual dumbbells by Bowflex that sit in a case, and you change a dial for the weights to change. They are cheap. Oh, that's different from what I was thinking about. Oh, those are sweet. I'm actually going to look into those. I've seen some on Temu that were something like that, but and those were, like I said, $30 or $40, but they're being shipped in from China. But I'll look into the ones that Bowflex has, because that is going to be less pieces all over the place in the house. Because if it's all together in a case and you just change the dial to increase the weight, that allows for you to do exercises in a more secluded location. That sounds like a fantastic idea. That's a great idea. I'm gonna look into that as soon as I get off of the show. I'm gonna look into that. See, we can teach each other stuff. I don't know everything about everything, y'all. I know enough to get by. I know enough to get you by. But I'm always willing to learn from other people. But because when I was thinking about the Bowflex machine, I was thinking about the Bowflex, the 10-foot tall Bowflex machine with the individual dumbbell straps, but it had the weight thing in the back, and you can use it like this, or you can use it like this, and you can use it like this. But I'm not about to pay $1,500 for that big bastard. But the ones that you're talking about, that might be like little kind of freeway kind of things that are like the adjustable. Because I've seen some that weren't Bowflex, but I've seen some where you could change the weight, and I don't know how they change the weight. All the weights are included. You change the weight in some kind of way, it shit gets heavier. I'm like, man, I wanna mess with that. But anything that's adjustable, you can benefit from it more, because instead of the weight no longer being beneficial to you, you can adjust it and continue to use it, and get more effort out of it. Anything that has long-term durability and the capabilities to recycle it into something else for yourself, that is beneficial. That is beneficial. You're able to work out on those days when you feel weak. You're able to work out on those days when you feel strong. You're able to utilize all of your equipment every time you work out. That is a benefit. When certain equipment starts collecting dust and you don't mess with it anymore, that is a waste. When your treadmill is now holding your dirty laundry, that is a waste. When your workout bench is just an extra chair for the people in the house, that is a waste. So making sure that whatever you get, you use it every time. That's a benefit. And then you can do a total body workout every day. You can find yourself doing a total body workout every day. And ironically, 1 to 5 of each thing from head to toe. You don't even have to do leg day. You can do like total body day every day and do a little bit of everything every day. And you can find yourself with a whole routine where by the end of the hour, I spent 15 minutes on each part of my body or 5 minutes on each part of my body. You might find yourself actually in a 2-hour position because you've leveled up from 30-minute workouts to 2-hour workouts. But on those days that you feel shitty, I'm going to do 5 or 10 here, 15, 20 here. I might only do a half hour worth of exercise, but I'll do a little bit of the whole body because the core goal is do the whole body every day. As long as you can get it done, you've accomplished something. It's almost like, take for example, you got an extra car in the yard at the house that you don't use. The trick of the trade to keep the engine from seizing up is to start the car up regularly, right? So what you tell yourself? Well, I'm gonna go out there at least once a week, or I'm gonna go out there every day, and I'm gonna turn a key and let it run for like 5 minutes, right? That same mentality, what you're gonna do with your body, you're gonna tell your mind, it's like, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna do this for at least 5 minutes. I'm gonna do this for at least X number of time. I'm gonna do at least one set. I'm gonna do at least 3 reps. I'm gonna and get it done. But once you get in there, you will find muscle memory kicking in, and your body is going to find reserve energy to push you through a full-on workout. I'm trying to tell y'all, there's a method to the madness for success, and it calls yourself applying yourself. Because I mean, look at what Donald Trump's got going on right now. He's a billionaire over 85. Let's push the money aside. He is having complex conversations with world leaders because of his capabilities to rationalize complex situations on a daily basis. He is about 40 to 50 years older than most of the people on the show. And he is dealing with more difficult discussions than what we deal with on a day-to-day basis. To be that kind of person at that age, we have to challenge ourselves more at this age. Instead of operating life on easy mode, we need to put more effort into operating life on hard mode. Y'all know when we used to play video games when we was kids, we used to practice on hard mode, and then when we go and play with our friends, we play with our friends on easy mode. Then we beating our friends out. How did you get so good? Because I never play on easy mode. If you think about it like that, you will find yourself more successful. Because if you're playing life on hard mode and things get too hard, you can always dial it down. If you only operate life on easy mode and things get too hard, you can only quit because it doesn't get any easier than this. It only gets harder from here. You think about that. So that's all I got for you guys for tonight. I gotta get the dog out. So we're gonna start off by saying, ladies, as long as the situation doesn't make sense, I'm gonna keep asking you ladies to make it make sense. So ladies, please make it make sense. Fellas, I give y'all this information to help y'all become higher value men, not just financially, but also mentally, improving your decision-making skills. You have to find the things in your life that are inside of your control that you don't like, that you can make changes on, improving the quality of your life and now giving you the mental space to navigate around the things that you can't control. And ladies, while this is a male-driven podcast from the male's perspective, you too can learn from this podcast and make yourself a higher value woman. You have to find your 20-year plan, reverse engineer, start taking those first steps, keep your eyes and ears open, and pay attention to that potential suitor that matches with your long-term 20-year goal. And then you and that person can get there just as fast, because one person can get there in 20 years and 2 people can get there in 10. You get there twice as fast. And if you have a conglomerate, 5 people can come together and make $1 million in less than 5 years. And 5 people can capitalize on that over the course of 10 years. And 5 people that put that together in 20 years' time, they can make themselves a multi-million-dollar group. But you have to have 5 motherfuckers that are driven to make that $1 million status. You have to have 5 people that are not selfish, that are not wasteful, that are driven to make that $10 million status. You'll get there. You'll get there quickly. But y'all got to work together as a group, right? So you got to find the right guild. In order for y'all to make it to number 1, y'all got to find the right guild. So with that being said, I want to thank you guys for coming to This and That. I'm your host, Xander, where we talk about this, that, and everything in between. And I will see you guys tomorrow night.
Chase validation, now I validate myself. Building inner strength, putting doubt upon the shelf. No more unnecessary drama, no more wasted time. Climbing higher, constantly making my own climb. My network is my net worth. Choose your company wise. Surround yourself with eagles, not with sheep in disguise. Every interaction is a reflection of my brand. Quality over quantity, that's my personal command. Living, I'm manifesting my vision, cutting through limitations with surgical precision. My expectations are my compass, my respect is my shield to mediocrity and chaos. I will never yield.